Hello, I'm Darlene Zoller, co-founder and co-artistic director of Playhouse on Park, and I am here today with Lucas Clopton, the sound designer for our current production of All Is Calm. It is streaming currently through January 3rd, so be sure you get out there and see it, and in this case, hear it, because it is a beautiful thing. So welcome, Lucas. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So I'm going to disappear for a moment and I'm going to let you take full screen and we're going to let people really enjoy what you have to say because I know this is going to be interesting. I think this production was unlike anything we at the Playhouse have ever done. And I would like to see, if you've done something like that and how much experience you had going into it. So let me just disappear and let you take center court here. I'm going away. Amazing. All right. So I guess let's start out. Tell me a little bit about yourself and where you're from.
Well, I'm originally from the Washington D.C. area, although grew up in a military family, so I'm kind of from all over. The bulk of my extended family is in the Hot Springs, Arkansas area, so I'm kind of a default Southerner, I guess you could say. But yeah, kind of moved all over and eventually got into theater kind of early-ish, I suppose, in high school. And I did a 2-year theater technology apprenticeship program that was through a local community college in partnership with the Omaha Community Playhouse, which is the largest community theater in the country. And did that in high school and ended up with an associate's degree in technical theater through that program when I graduated from high school. Went to a 4-year program and ended up kind of where we are now. So I guess
What
the only...
exactly brought you to Connecticut?
Well, I was hired at Hartford Stage to be their audio and video supervisor, to run their audio and video program. Yeah, that's kind of what brought my wife and I out here.
Oh, that's wonderful. So I'm looking behind and seeing all these guitars. So I'm assuming besides being a sound designer, you have some love of music. How long have you been playing guitar?
Oh, I don't like to think about that anymore. As the years go by, it becomes a scarier number. I suppose now it's been about, I don't know, 20 years, 21 years, something like that.
And did you ever perform playing guitar or was it just for yourself?
Yeah, over the years I played in a few bands and, recorded some, played live quite a bit, but not so much in recent years.
What's your style? What's the music? What's your genre?
I've played in kind of indie rock bands over the years. I've played in 1 or 2 metal bands. Did some kind of country-esque stuff, so it's kind of all over the place.
Oh, good. Well, you have a great background then.
Yeah.
So how did you transition over to sound design? What brought that interest to you?
Well, I think I've always been interested, as a musician, been interested in how sound interacts with, movies or television. Started going to see live theater with my mom, in high school. I think the first actual professional show I saw was a Lion King tour that came through Omaha, Nebraska, where we were living at the time. And I just kind of became fascinated with how sound interacted with the rest of the production, and then started to see straight plays. And that's obviously a very different experience sound-wise than a musical, because you kind of have a little more freedom depending on the show to create the oral world, versus a musical where obviously the music kind of dictates what you're going to do most of the time.
That was my next question, because I was going to bring that up, that when you think about sound, automatically in a musical, you're thinking about, people bursting into music and there's a band, but you don't realize how integral sound is to a straight play and the mood that you can create. And I'm always fascinated by it. So what is your approach when you have a show that you kind of have carte blanche to create?
Well, I like to, start where probably most designers start, reading the script. And, I try to do my first read through of the script just to get a feel for the show, kind of get a feel for the pacing as much as you can, not seeing it performed. I try not to at that stage have any ideas. I just want to get a feel for the show. Most of the time, it doesn't quite work out that way. I'll end up jotting notes in the margins of the script and that kind of thing. And then I'll do at least two more read throughs of the script, to kind of flesh out a few more initial ideas, so I have something to talk about when I get in touch with the director of the show. Um, and then the first conversation with the director is usually getting a good idea of what their vision for the production is, and then seeing how that aligns with some of the ideas that I've jotted down, and seeing really what I can do to enhance the director's vision of the show. Because ultimately, that's what we're trying to do, is tell this story through the lens of that director.
Sure. And do you enjoy the collaborative nature of theater, being with the director and sitting down and fleshing it out?
I do. I do. I really like working collaboratively in theater because I find that even talking to other designers, you'll maybe get an idea that you wouldn't have come up with on your own because there are so many different perspectives in the room. And one of my favorite things through rehearsals is seeing what an actor is doing and then getting an idea based on what an actor or a group of actors are doing in the room. Maybe it's an actor does something, has some minute reaction, and you just say like, oh, maybe I can help that out a little bit. Maybe I can help the storytelling in that moment a little bit.
Sure. And I've had the privilege of working with you before in a small capacity. You designed for my dance company. And it
Mhm.
was just amazing to me that you could just sit there and come up with an idea and then just transform what the scene would have been otherwise. So for that, I'm very appreciative. And it made me really think about where you can take things to the next level with sound. So as I said, you've worked at Playhouse on parts before, but clearly this production of All Is Calm was a whole different animal. So did you have any hesitation in being a part of this project?
Uh, no, I didn't have any hesitation. I realize the irony of hesitating to start that answer, by the way. Uh, no, I didn't really have any hesitation, um, because I've done some film work like earlier in my career. Um, so I kind of had an idea of like how technically we were going to accomplish it, uh, especially within the budgetary constraints and time constraints that we had. Not even to mention, our obvious COVID protocols that we adhered to. Uh, so I wasn't hesitant per se. I was excited to work on the project in general after so many months of, there not really being theater in any kind of traditional sense. And I was just kind of looking forward to seeing what Sasha, our director, wanted to bring to the table with this unique adaptation of the show.
Yep. And Playhouse on Park obviously had no prior experience putting on a show via film. We were lucky to have a wonderful videographer, John O'Neill, and then we were lucky to have you, knowing that you had a little experience with filmmaking. So you two were the ones that brought this to the table, and it gave us a little reassurance that this could work. So the fact that it was being not filmed on stage as we originally planned, I mean, obviously, originally it was planned to be a live show on stage, and then it was going to be filmed on stage. And then because of the protocol, we had to take it outdoors. What became the challenge then?
Uh, the challenge with shooting outdoors, from a sound perspective is, you don't have control over your environment any longer. If you're in a studio, if you're in a theater, really any kind of enclosed room that you control, you have more or less complete control of your environment. Any kind of extraneous noise, that kind of thing, is a lot easier to handle and deal with. So when you're outdoors, especially in a public place, as was the location of the shoot, you have to work around some things you wouldn't normally have to work around. Um, they were selling Christmas trees on site uh, when we were filming, and that was a unique thing because sometimes there would be saw noises going on in the background as
God.
they were prepping Christmas trees for customers and that kind of thing. So that presents a unique challenge. And like, well, you can do a little bit of audio restoration work, um, but too much starts to negatively impact the quality of your end product. So you want it to be as quiet as possible, ideally. Uh, and that also allows me to say, well, I get to add the background sound. It's like, that's fine that there is actual background sound, but it'd be nice if I could do that
You
instead,
can
kind of
control
choose
that.
the background sound,
And
which
of
we
course,
did on the show.
we're on a farm, so there are animals.
Yeah, exactly. But it's also, if it's nighttime and the chickens in the coop next to one of our locations start going nuts because of the lighting and the people, that doesn't really help us out as much.
I absolutely understand. I know a couple of the other designers were frantic about that, and that's just teaches you how to adapt on the fly, more or
Yeah.
less. And you all did a really, really great job, and I was so proud of it. I mean, when I had done all the other interviews, they were done before I got to see the product. So I'm excited to be able to interview you after having seen and, more importantly, heard this product, because I just think it is beautiful. And the fact that you were the sound designer for a show like this, it is just so impressive. The fact that I feel like I could turn the video off and get as much out of this show as if I'm watching it. And so my hat is off to you for the beautiful work that you captured.
Yeah,
Now
thank
there
you.
were 9 singers and 3 actors. How do you balance all of that? How do you make that magic happen?
Well, the singing and the dialogue were recorded separately. Um, all of the content for the show, all of the audio content for the show was recorded on site outdoors. That was something that was very important to me. I didn't really want to do any, like, well, we'll record this in a studio location and then we'll add it in later, because I really wanted all of it to exist in the same world. So it was important to record on site, on location, outdoors. We did do one day of shooting, one day of audio recording, I should say, a couple days before our shoot with the choir, because there were some songs that were off camera, that we never saw the choir. So in the interest of time, we recorded that beforehand, but it was still recorded on site in the same manner that we recorded during the day of the shoot. Uh, and all of it was recorded with 2 microphones. The entire production recorded with 2 microphones. So that was a unique challenge in that, it was literally microphones that were pulled from my studio. And normally you would want, especially given like the Silent Night sequence where we had such a wide spread of people, distance necessary to maintain adherence to COVID protocols and that kind of thing. Ideally, you would want probably more microphones to get a little more spot coverage, but we didn't have the luxury of doing that. We didn't really even have the time to do a much larger audio setup than what we did. So it was kind of a balancing act of finding what works in budget and within the time constraints. So that was a unique challenge that was really an interesting thing to think about leading up to the project and then day of the shoot as well. Kind of like, well, how do we position these 2 microphones in such a way that we get everything that we need? And we don't really have the time to do multiple takes of a lot of stuff. Most of the pieces I think we did, maybe two takes of. I know Silent Night in particular, we did 2 takes of. So there was a lot of pressure put on like we got to get it right the first time, and we don't want to be holding on me, as the sound designer and also the engineer on the project, to kind of say, oh, well, wait, I need to move this microphone a little bit because I didn't quite get what I needed. And then it all became mixing after the fact. So I spent a lot of time in my studio, right here in front of this computer, cleaning up all of the audio files, balancing everything out, mixing the show, kind of as you would with a live production, honestly. Just finding that sweet spot between the underscored vocal music and the dialogue, and then kind of doing a few little, tricky things that you're not necessarily able to do in the theater that you can do on film, like in the O Tannenbaum sequence when the music starts with the shot of the moon. It's kind of a B-roll shot of the moon, and then it transitions into the English soldiers listening to it from a distance. So I played with levels and some panning. So when the actors are looking in a certain direction, the music pans in that direction, and just a few little things like that you can do in a film environment that aren't as effective in a theater.
Yeah, and the details are so wonderful. And do you enjoy the post-production work as much as the production, or more or less?
I do. I This was an interesting project because I really did enjoy the day of the shoot. I guess for one reason, because it's all of a sudden after 9 months of not really seeing anyone, all of a sudden it's like, hey, there are people here. People exist. I remember people. So that was a unique thing. Just to feel a little bit more energy on a project, because there's been a lot of Zoom stuff lately. There's been a lot of radio play stuff lately that I feel like, as you're doing it, lacks a little bit of the same energy that you get when you're in a theater collaborating actively with people who are in front of you. So that was nice to feel a little bit of that again. But the post-production work, I think, is really where I get to do a lot of the creative side of it. So much of the day of shoot is about technical stuff, where here is what I need to accomplish in order to do the post-production work, because the post-production work doesn't matter if I didn't get the recording right.
So I know you're currently unemployed because Harvard Stage is closed, and there have been bright moments of 2020 for the Playhouse, and you being available is one of them. We are so grateful to have had wonderful designers on this show, all of them collaborating. Each one of you, as I've interviewed you, has said you didn't want to be the one that held up the shoot at all. We were under contractual time restraints and had to get this show done it was 12 hours essentially for that shoot, and so grateful for the preparedness that you all came in with and the beautiful work that you put out. So from my perspective as a representative of the Playhouse, I'm so grateful for the work you've done. I look forward to working with you again. And before you go, I always like to throw out just a couple of rapid fire questions just for fun. So if you don't mind, here they come. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Musicals or plays?
Plays.
Regarding guitars, electric or acoustic?
Oh man. Right now, acoustic.
Okay. Indoors or outdoors?
Indoors.
Mountains or the beach?
Mountains.
Summer, winter, spring or fall?
Fall.
Favorite holiday?
Halloween.
Yes. Favorite song to jam out to in your car?
Oh man. Oh geez. This is going to be a controversial choice, but I'm going to go with it because I always say that I don't have any musical guilty pleasures. So I've got to say the Christopher Cross version of "Ride Like the Wind," featuring
Okay.
Michael McDonald.
Oh my gosh, yes. And do you have a favorite Broadway show?
I think the best Broadway show that I've ever seen was Cabaret,
Great,
the
great.
revival of the '98
Oh, wow.
revival with Alan Cumming.
Good choice. Your choice of acoustic guitar, can I just tell you on a sound, on a sound design note, I love the sound of fingers running across the string. I don't know what it is about it, but you know, you'll be playing a note and the finger, I don't know what that's called. I don't know if it has a name. It just, your finger just runs and makes it,
Hmm.
I don't know. It gives me joy.
Yeah,
So
it's the human element.
it's the little things, and I'll hear that when somebody's playing acoustic and I get goosebumps, and I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. That's wild. All right, let's see if I can bring myself back. There I am. Lucas, it has been a joy talking to you. It has been a joy working with you. I am so grateful that we had this opportunity. All Is Calm is streaming from now until January 3rd. I encourage everyone to see it if they haven't already, because this man has put on some beautiful, beautiful work. And I thank you.
No,
Have
thank
a,
you.
have a lovely rest of your day. And until we work again,
Great.
thank you so much.
Thank you.